Thank you so much for having me, Sandra. It's very exciting to be here, and I've really loved that panel. And your talk was absolutely brilliant and leads quite nicely onto mine. Um, Anne and I were on the same speaker bootcamp with Sandra, so it's really lovely to see where we've got to. So, hello everyone. I'm Jen Parker. I am the founder of Fuzzy Flamingo, which is a self-publishing business that's all about empowering authors to share their stories. So today I want to talk about something that's close to my heart, and that's mindful growth, building a thriving business without burning out. So let me start with a question. What if the key to sustainable business growth isn't doing more, but doing less mindfully? No, I love my business. I love being busy, but I also need to make time for self-care. So you can see here, I love the countryside, I love the outdoors, I love getting that fresh air. But when you're really pushed for time, it can feel really difficult to fit those self-care tasks in. We live in a world obsessed with hustle culture. More hours, more tasks, more pressure. But here's the truth. More doesn't always mean better. So today I'm sharing 3 practical strategies that have helped me to grow my business sustainably while managing chronic illnesses and raising 2 daughters. So here's what we'll cover. Number 1, prioritizing energy, not just time. Number 2, setting boundaries and saying no without the guilt. And number 3, asking for help. Strength, and why it's a strength and not a weakness. Let's talk about the problem. If you're in the entrepreneurial world, the business world, you will have come across hustle culture. You just have to switch Facebook on and you're bombarded with all these posts saying you have to get up at 5 o'clock in the morning, you have to work to all hours, you have to give your absolute everything to make your business a success. Hustle culture tells us success means working harder, faster, longer. But what can that lead to? Burnout, stress, and sometimes serious health issues. And for me, when I have serious health issues to begin with, it can make them so much worse. I've been there. I've tried to do it. I've tried to do it all and on more than one occasion because I don't always learn my lesson. And I ended up very ill indeed. The last time was my wake-up call. My hair was falling out. I was struggling to make time with my girls. I was struggling to be there fully present when I was with them. I was even struggling to walk my dog. Success should never come at the expense of your health. So here's me. I run an award-winning business. Shout out to the Woman Who Solopreneur Awards because I won one in October, which was so exciting and I'm still buzzing. And you can see I've got quite a few on my shelf behind me. I've helped create over 100 Amazon bestsellers. So it can sound like I've got everything sorted. And I know my social media can sometimes make it look like that because we show the best of ourselves, right? But I am disabled as a result of living with multiple chronic illnesses for many years. Arthritis has caused a lot of damage in my body, and I have to live with that alongside running a business on my own and raising 2 daughters. I've had to make some about turns in life, such as completely changing my career path when I was diagnosed with ankylosing spondylitis and psoriatic arthritis. They love to make it a big mouthful on my gap year. So that was in between university and starting my dream career. I got a life-changing diagnosis and I had to change absolutely everything about my dreams because I could no longer be the police officer that I wanted to be. But that story is for another time. Or you could read my book on Flip. I'm not telling you this for sympathy. I'm telling you because if I can build a thriving business without burning out, then so can you. So let's have a look at my first strategy. Prioritize energy, not just time. We all know about time management. It can feel absolutely impossible sometimes. We're trying to fit everything in. But if you're exhausted, time doesn't matter. So here's what I do, and I do this on a regular basis. So every couple of months, I reassess to make sure that I'm prioritizing my energy and my time as it's needed. So I do an energy audit. On a typical day, write down your tasks and mark which ones energize you and which ones drain you. So I love a spreadsheet. So I normally do my time slots throughout the day from when I'm starting work to when I'm finishing work. I will put in those time slots when I'm starting a task and when I finish, but I'll also have an extra level underneath to show how I'm feeling at the beginning and at the end. Note which parts of the working day you feel like you have the most energy and when you wanted to take a nap. You can then schedule the high energy tasks for when you feel your best. So for me, editing work needs a lot of energy, so I need to prioritize that in the morning when I'm at my sharpest. Whereas the more creative tasks, they give me energy. Designing covers are really energizing, so I can do those when I'm having a bit less energy than in the morning, but when I'm still energized to get in the flow and I can relax to get a bit weird, which is helpful. And the admin, that can then slot in where I've got less energy. So here's a simple example. My energized time of the day, it tends to be the mornings. Now, this does depend on how my health is doing. So, if I'm not sleeping very well because I've got inflamed joints, things like that, the mornings may well be difficult. But what I've learned over the past few years is that if I start my day giving myself energy, even when I feel like I have none, then I can get that energy level back up to high in the morning. So in the morning, I have to get outside, I have to get in the fresh air, no matter what the weather. So having my dog is brilliant for me because I can get out with him no matter what. Even if it's 20 minutes, that will give me energy. And I do my workouts every weekday morning as well. So even when I'm feeling rubbish, the mornings generally for me are still feeling better. The sluggish times for me tend to be in the afternoon. So if you've heard of the spoon theory, um, I tend to run out of spoons by the time it gets to late afternoon. So I need to keep a check on that. And there's also a problem if I get hangry. So I need to make sure my snack timing is bang on point. Once you've done this for yourself, you can then batch tasks and you can protect your energy. So use it wisely. My next strategy is boundaries. This is something that is still a work in progress for me, and I think it always will be as I'm a recovering people pleaser. But everything is better when I work at saying no without the guilt. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your values or your goals, you're saying no to your health and your business. So I've got a simple script for you. I'd love to help, but I can't commit right now. It's polite, it's clear, it's guilt-free. There is another level. No is a complete sentence. You don't have to explain. It's just how it is, and you're protecting yourself. My third strategy, ask for help. This is also difficult for me. I'm somewhat of a lover of control, so asking for help can sometimes feel like I'm relinquishing that. However, I'm learning that asking for help isn't a failure, it's smart business. So outsource draining tasks that you've marked out from your energy audit. You can delegate where possible. For example, I outsource website design and accounting because my energy is better spent on strategy and client work. It's what I enjoy, it's what gives me energy. So I delegate the things that drain me of that. You can focus on your zone of genius and outsource the other tasks, but start small. My challenge to you is to pick one task this week to delegate or automate, and you'll be amazed at the difference. I love the 1% theory that if you change 1% every day, it adds up and you end up making those big changes. So start small and build from there. So here's the mindset shift. Growth isn't speed, it's sustainability. I went for my hysterectomy in October 2024 because I didn't have enough chronic illnesses. I had to add a couple more. So adenomyosis and endometriosis reared their lovely heads. I had to put plans in place because for the first time since my maternity leave, I had to wind down my work in order to make time and space for recovery. And because of what I've learned in the past, I knew that I really had to prioritize that recovery and I had to give myself the energy to get better. Because if I kept working, I would keep draining my energy and then it would take me longer to recover. It was a big challenge, both financially and mentally, but it did make me realize that without me, there is no Fuzzy Flamingo. And because of the tools I had, I could return to work safely and I could build back up mindfully. So I didn't go hell for leather when I came back. It started small and it built from there. And from that, I was fully booked again by January 2025. So I had a 3 month space where I was working smaller, but by January, I was back to where I was, but without burning out. Your health is your business's greatest asset, so you need to protect it. So, a quick recap. Number one, prioritize your energy. Number two, set boundaries. Number three, ask for help. These 3 steps will help you grow mindfully and avoid burnout. So, my challenge to you, choose mindful growth. Stop chasing the hustle culture. Build a business that supports you and your life, not the other way around. So if you'd like to get in touch with me, my website you can get to quickly from this QR code. You can also purchase my book from the shop section of my website. And if you use the discount code WomanWho, you get £2 off the paperback price, which is only directly through my website. And I'd love to connect.
Thank you for that, Jen.
Thank you.
It flowed on beautifully from Anne's session. Um, if you've got any questions, please pop them into the chat, and I'll ask Jen for you. One of the things that you said, energize versus drain, I call them mood hoovers. So I
Yes.
tend to, you don't really want to do those hoovering tasks when you're feeling at low energy points because they pull you even further down. I call them I sort of set myself 3 tasks a day and I try and do my ugliest task first to get it out the way and save my what I call my fluffy tasks, which are my lovely tasks for the afternoon.
I love that. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's the eat the frog theory, isn't it?
it
Doing
is.
the
Yeah,
difficult task first.
yeah,
Love
yeah.
it.
And it's my reward that I get to do those fluffy tasks
Yeah.
in the afternoon. But great tips there on energy, boundaries, and asking for help. And how awful are we as women in business? Too often we stick a pride label over us and say, no, I'm too proud. I'm not going to ask anybody for help. I can manage, I can cope. And I've been there. I'm my own worst enemy for that. But reaching out and asking for help is not a sign of weakness, is it?
No, absolutely not. And it feels good to me to be busy, but it needs to be enjoyably busy. So my heart drops a little bit when I get a message saying, "Oh, I was going to contact you earlier, but I didn't because you seemed too busy." I don't want those messages. I want to be available and show that I can work well. So yeah, busyness shouldn't be a badge of honor.
Yeah, yeah. And it's, sometimes we hold back and we don't say, whereas I think you've just said you prefer people to reach out and say, can you help me? You might
Yeah.
not. And and the other thing you said was no is a complete sentence, but you can also caveat that. You can always say, no, I'd love to, but not right now. You can,
Yes.
you can put those boundaries in place without saying a blanket no. I've many people have reached out to me. I said, I'd absolutely love to ask me again next year or ask me again.
Mhm.
Because
Yes,
sometimes we have to recognize those boundaries are so important. Just looking
absolutely.
through the chat here to see if there's any questions for you. Just lots of people saying, read through those comments, Jen, because people really resonated with your talk here. And I'm just seeing, yeah, it's just people resonated with it and saying people in that camp. What was your view? Somebody's raised people pleasing here. What's your view on that?
So I've gone kind of full circle with people pleasing. So I spent quite a long time fighting it, thinking, "Oh, it's a negative. I need to stop people pleasing to be better." But actually, people pleasing isn't necessarily a negative thing. I'm a generous person. I'm generous with my time. I love connecting with people. I just know that I need to have my boundaries in place so that it doesn't lead to me being walked over. So I like to please people, and I'm now owning that, but it has to come with a limit.
Yeah, and that's where we put those boundaries in, doesn't it? Because if it's
Yeah,
all one-sided, I was the mom that used to get ready, get my kids ready to go out, and there'd be a knock at the door. We'd all have our coats on, be ready to go, and they'd say, "Oh, we've just popped round for a coffee." And rather than saying, "Really sorry, we're just going out," I'd get all the kids' coats off, I'd hang mine up, and
yeah.
I'd literally cancel my plans for everybody else. And I realised that I did that too often, and then I went the other extreme, and basically it's my way or the highway. So that I think there's a happy balance there, isn't there?
Oh, absolutely. And you've made me laugh because my mum was exactly the same. And so I think I learned from that. So if I can welcome you in, I will. But if I've got plans, then it's got to be a not yet.
Well, thank you for sharing those tips for us today. It's been absolutely fantastic, Jen. Please go back and read all the comments. There are lots of them. And thank you for being here and enjoy the rest of the day.